You know the roads you drive on, the hospital near where you live, and the food your kids eat at school? Well, you might not expect this, but they could all be provided by the same big private company. There are a couple of reasons why. For a big project like building a road or a hospital, the government doesn't necessarily have or want to put up the cash itself. It might not want to borrow the money either. Instead, it would rather get a private company to do that and then pay them back over a number of years. The other argument goes that private companies driven by making profit are more efficient at doing things than public authorities, which don't have to worry about going out of business if they do a bad job. So that's outsourcing. It probably happens in your local hospital. The cleaners' wages don't come from the NHS like the nurses' wages do. Instead, the cleaners might get paid by a company that's got a contract to keep the place clean. Or the potholes on your local high street. The guys who come to fill them in don't always work for the council. Sometimes they'll be from a company that's won a deal to sort it out. So private companies bid to do these jobs, and then the government gives them the money to get on with it. If it all goes to plan, the company balances its books, only spends what it has in the bank, and things get done. But sometimes it doesn't work. The private security company G4S was stripped of a contract running a prison in Yorkshire because it wasn't doing a good enough job. And the company got into big trouble at the London Olympics in 2012 after it couldn't provide all the security guards it was supposed to.
It's a humiliating shambles for the company, yes or no?
I cannot disagree with you.
More recently,
Carillion, this company,
which was responsible for cooking more than 30,000 school meals a day, maintaining about half of the UK's prisons, and was given a contract to build part of the new high-speed rail line, went bust.
Construction giant Carillion has gone into liquidation.
Carillion had 450 public service contracts when it collapsed, but it had promised to carry them out at a price it couldn't afford, and racked up debts of about £1.3 billion in the process. The whole episode raised questions about what would happen to the services it provided and what it meant for its workers and contractors.
That's to lay us all off, and that was it, to go home. There's no work today.
And it turned the principle of outsourcing into a hot political topic. But there's one kind of outsourcing that really gets some people worked up. It's called PFI, which stands for Private Finance Initiative.
The scandal of the Private Finance Initiative.
This is the big stuff. It's kind of like getting a mortgage except for a hospital or an airport or bridges, roads or a train line instead of a house. Governments of all flavours started using PFI in the 90s, but it really took off under the Labour Prime Minister Tony Blair. PFI has always been controversial.
Controversial Private Finance Initiative, or PFI.
All along, a lot of people have said that it doesn't make sense, that the contracts were bad value for money, and that it would be cheaper for the government to borrow the money to build and manage the infrastructure itself.
They're slightly suspicious about what this may mean.
On top of that, some people just don't like the fact that private companies are involved in public services. Take this example in Sheffield. The council signed a £2 billion, 25-year-long PFI deal with a company called Amy to maintain the roads in the city. As part of their works, Amy have been chopping down trees that they say are diseased or damaging roads and pavements. But not everybody in the city is happy about this. Some people are even trying to disrupt the works. People who oppose the tree felling are angry the contract between the city council and the company isn't available to view in full. The council say it's too commercially sensitive to be released. If the council were cutting the trees down themselves, people could petition their councillors or try to elect a new, more pro-tree council that'd stop it. But with an outsourcing company bound into a long-term contract, there's not a lot they can do. And with the lifespan of some outsourced contracts being measured in decades, it's something we'll be hearing about for a long time.